Luke 21:19. It says, in your, what does your version say? The Greek is hopomon. What does your version say? In your what?
By your patience.
By your patience, bad translation. It's just about as bad as those suspenders always were.
Yeah.
They're not going to hold up anything. And now I found a way to relate it now. Okay. It's not going to hold up anything because it's not patience. It's actually, the best English word would be constancy. Not consistency, but constancy, meaning being constant. It's the Greek word hopomon, which means you possess in your constancy, your unswerving and deliberate loyalty to attending church, reading the Bible, serving God, living out your faith. In your constancy, you possess your soul. You possess your soul. In this final hour, we have said over the last few weeks, there's going to be great wickedness, great deception, great sin, gross sin. Matter of fact, don't look at them, look at me. Amen. Is that for them?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You have 2 weeks to look at the verses. Great.
What is the verse?
Luke 21:19.
Luke 20.
Right now, the wickedness that we have in the world, you cannot have imagined this. You could not have imagined in 1985 that there would be men dressed up as women beating up other women in sports or in swimming. Boxing is the worst. Like who would ever imagine?
Yeah.
Okay, they want to say that a woman is swim. I understand that. I mean, I don't, but like that's one thing. But to say now go in there and punch up on this person, that is totally insanity. We never imagined a time that our daughters would be raped in the bathrooms, at the Walmarts, and at the grocery stores. We never imagined a time that women prisoners would not even be safe, and that transgenders would go into prisons as women and go in there and rape the ladies, which is happening in grocery stores everywhere. It's happening in fast food restaurants everywhere. It's happening terribly in the prison. When I went to Manila, the prison warden told me it's a big problem. The women are always being raped by the transgenders. That they say that they're a woman, and they get an ID saying they're a woman. So when they come to jail and they look at the ID and the passport, they have to let them into the woman's side. And they come into the woman's side and they rape the women. We can never imagine 1985, 1995, that we would live in such a immoral time on planet Earth. And if you think this is bad, what do you think is going to happen in the next 15 years?
Yeah.
Because it didn't start like that 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
15 years ago it started with respect them, tolerate them, tolerance. Then it became let them marry. Okay, let them marry. Now it's let them shower in the locker room with your daughters. And where is it going to be in the next 10, 15, 5 years? Where is it going to be? We are in a time, in a season that we can never imagine how wicked this would be. That's the season that we're in. And if you're not careful, you'll pick up the spirit of Lot and his wife. Lot and his wife were living in a city just like Houston. They were listening to their news pundits and their politicians, and they adapted the same attitude that we have now, is that, hey, listen, it's okay, let them do what they want to do. It's okay, they feel they're a woman. It's okay, and they adopted this attitude of tolerance, which tolerance always leads to intolerance. But not intolerance of the wicked, but intolerance of the righteous. To the point now, in several countries, you cannot preach homosexuality is a sin. If a pastor preaches that in Canada, the pastor goes to jail. And Canada is just a couple hours north of us. You could literally walk to Canada from here. Tolerance becomes intolerance to the righteous. And it became so common, and rape became so common in Sodom and Gomorrah, that even when you would have visitors come to visit your house, the neighbors would come and say, give me your visitors, to feast on their flesh, to rape them. And it's so normal that if you really care about your visitors, you just offer them your children. No, take my children, rape my children instead, because these are my guests. Which is what Lot did. He said, no, take my virgin daughters. Don't touch my guests, because these guests were actually, they appeared as men, but they were angels. And he said, no, take my virgin daughters instead. And yet, these people were so wicked, they didn't want virgin girls. They wanted these men to rape them. It's wickedness. What kind of wickedness are we going to see? I'll tell you what we're going to see. Because Lester Summerall in 1986 prophesied it. He said, before the Lord returns, there's going to be full-blown bestiality in society. And he said he saw the demon power that's going to be released from the abyss, that's been held back for centuries. Yes. There's going to be a demon power released from the abyss that is the last wave of wickedness. He said, and I seen it coming through a television. He said the silver screen. He said it's coming through the television. Now this was before there were computers and before there were handheld devices and iPads and iPhones. So he couldn't describe what everything he was seeing. The only thing he could relate it to was the silver screen, the television. He said, this demon of the age is going to come through the TV screen. Now we know the computer, the iPhone, the internet. Do you hear me? Yes. So, the only way that the church can preserve itself during this time is through constancy, deliberate loyalty to the faith. How many preachers, when they're questioned on a large platform like Dateline and different TVs, Larry King Live, and they ask them, is homosexuality a sin? They start to stutter, they start to mumble. The smoothest one was Pastor Carl Lentz from Hillsong in New York. They asked him about it, and he answered it in such a way, you really didn't know what he said. And it sounded good. You thought, I'll go to that church. Unfortunately, some other pastors, I'm not going to name any here in Houston, unfortunately did not address it as well as they should when they asked him about gay marriage, when they asked him, is Jesus the only way?
Mega church.
Because the pressure. But because the pressure to agree with the spirit of the age. Mm-hmm. The pressure to not look like you're intolerant. The same pressure that came on Lot and his wife. And Lot's wife loved the little gay boutiques and gay coffee shops and the gay bed and breakfasts, and it's quite charming how they, how these communities really, have the cafes and the art. It's quite a charming, fun life, even if you don't agree with it. And she loved it so much that when God destroyed it, she was destroyed with it. We have to be careful not to gain the spirit of tolerance and compromise.